Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Yep, it's time. I don't care what you did last night or how long you did it. It is time. Time to wake that ass up. Come on, get up, y'all. It's time. It's Friday. Ooh. We got here quickly because we had a Monday holiday. That's why. It's like, didn't Friday get here quick? Lee, Yeah. Oh, my ADHD is in full effect this morning. Yes, get ready. Y'all know it's gonna be a good show, and ADHD is in there directing. Dun, 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 dun. See, there it goes again. So anyway, I'm so excited it's Friday, and I just can't hide it. I know. There it is again. Slow down, y'all. Slow that. You know what that is? That is all of that spiritual goodness, celebrating that we have gotten it. At least right now in this moment. When I say gotten it, what do I mean? I mean that we know that we have come here fulfilling one of the greatest promises available, that one that guarantees us that where two or more of us comes together and we're sharing that sacred space, sacred space, heart space, soul space, real space. Spiritual magic is what comes out the spigot. And I'm so, oh, there's the bell of purpose. Did I just slip on a banana peel and ring that? No, I didn't. It is not a gimmick. It's not a show prop. The bell of purpose is a real thing. Look, there it is. Oh, see my matchbox on there? That's my latest one to my collection. Puts me at 2,312. Am I coming in clear? Mike TV. See him back there on top of the TV from Willy Wonka? Met him 3 weeks ago in real life. That's right. Finally got that letter that he never wrote to me. I told you I used to write to Mike TV in care of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. When I saw him 3 weeks ago, I was like, where's my letter? Right? So anyway, the Bell of Purpose is a reminder. It's an opportunity that never gets so busy, never gets so distracted that you miss the truth. The truth has a ring to it, just like that bell. And boy, nothing better, because it is the only thing in this universe that will never change on us. Don't forget that, okay? There we go. Welcome to the show. My sidekick, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Been here all 7 years. And I'm so excited about today's show. Share this broadcast out right now. First of all, where are my manners? Good morning, beautiful people. Okay, that was like la 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 la. Let me say it like I mean it, so it can be full of meaning, meaningful. Good morning, you beautiful people. There you go. See what I'm saying? We got to catch it when we're doing things just cookie cutter. Doesn't matter. Like when someone says, "Oh, please send prayers," and you hit the emoji and ain't whispered one word of a prayer. Don't do it. Cue Moonstruck. Snap out of it. So anyway, today we're going to talk about this. We have had a lot of people here over the years, and we've talked amongst ourselves on solo shows about spirituality and all that comes with it, woo-woo and the such. But I've never had a person like today's guest. Charles Logan is here, and he is the founder of the Logan Light Center. And I went all through their cookies. I'm not kidding. I had a fine-tooth comb, which was hard to find since I don't have not one drop of hair. But I found one, and I went all through there, and I just fell in love with the work they're doing. I mean that. I'm not saying that because he's backstage. I really did. I loved a lot of the words that they used to ease people, like guide. Let us guide you. It was just a beautiful experience, simply from, hence the term user-friendly, the website. So before I get Charles in here, I wanted to just crack the shell, roll out a little bit of the sidewalk that we're going to walk down today. And here is, Brene Brown. Everybody knows her. Her definition, she was on Oprah's, I think it was Super Soul Sunday, and she just a minute talking about spirituality. Take a listen.
Rising Strong, great title, by the way.
Thank you.
Is like it was written for our audience because you actually believe that the ability to rise and rise strongly is a spiritual practice.
I do. When I talk about spirituality, one of the definitions I put forward in my work is that spirituality is this deeply held belief that we're inextricably connected to each other by something greater than us. And that something greater is rooted in love and belonging. Some of us, I call that God. Some people call it nature, the universe, the source, the higher power. And so to me, it's about the big key piece is that inextricably connected. Like we will never be able to free ourselves from suffering until we're all free from suffering, which makes it our job to do something about it.
That's a tweet. We will never be able to be free from suffering until we're all free.
Until we're all free.
Wow. And Brene Brown isn't the only one who believes in that, because I'm going to tell you right now, coming to the stage, a first timer. So I'm going to ask you guys to be on your P's and Q's. Get lots of questions and comments in today. It's a great opportunity to expand your knowledge base. Charles Logan, a lot of people call him Charlie. Aw, Charlie. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Mike TV, am I coming in clear? It's all connected. He's a guide, a teacher. Uh-oh. What is that? That sounds like something Greek. Magus. Okay. You can't do it. I'm gonna skip all over that. And let me just tell you before you get in here, Charlie. I have a 6-syllable rule on this show and no foreign words. Okay. Hello. Oh boy. You know what? I'm going to skip to the easy stuff. He has spent his entire life trying to bring joy into the lives of those around him and has always been happiest when he is helping others. Through the power of ancient metaphysical teachings, I can handle that one, he has been able to devote his life to these pursuits full time with the establishment of Logan Light Center, and looks forward to sharing these tools, teachings, and healings with all those who are ready to receive them. And that's a big piece. You got to be ready. And like my friend Les says, if you stay ready, you ain't got to scramble to get ready. Like right now, I want you to get ready, because here he comes, Charles Logan. Okay, what's up with all that Greek? You look, you need to put some pneumonics or something in there, so people like me can look. Don't let the doctor fool you. That was honorary.
Magus Hermeticus.
Who?
Magus Hermeticus, essentially master of hermetics. Everything that we do in the lineage study is founded on the hermetic principles, and so that's really what that is essentially saying. Hermetic wizard, we can translate that as
hermetics, and I thought of female like ambulance attendees. Get it? Hermetics. I'm just saying. Look, but this is what I love about it.
Girl, she need a doctor. Go call hermetics.
See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Listen, Charles, I just love all of this. I want to get into this lineage of King Solomon, the mystery piece, bonehead moves. I found so many unique but intriguing doors into this world of spirituality that I've never encountered. And I just absolutely love it. And I want to talk about that, because what I love about it is I'm telling you, one of my gifts is God gives me this universe, spirit, all of it. They give me brief glimpses into the greatness of situations and people. And I'm going to tell you what I saw. I didn't feel it. I saw it. There was a universal beckoning, like if the universe had a finger. Every time I found these doors, it was doing this, and there was no fear attached to it. It felt inviting. It felt like home. It really did. And I was like, wow, this thing is anointed that they're doing, this work that you're doing. So I like to start off by dipping out, letting the guest just create that vibe, that vibrational pull that only you can provide, that connection. And then I'll come back in and we'll get officially started, because I got some questions. Okay. All you take it away.
Oh, where to start? Hi, I'm Charles Logan, Charlie, if you like. And I am a guide, teacher, and healer in the lineage of King Solomon, which is one of the 7 ancient mystery school lineages that is still on our planet today. And it is the only one of those 7 lineages that is open to the public. These lineages have been around for thousands of years, holding certain teachings and certain energy, or you might also think of them as certain rays of light for the planet as a whole. And they've always been in the background or underground or in secret, either by invitation only or by very extreme circumstances that you would have to go through in order to find them. And 20 years ago, the North American lineage was able to open to the public and open its doors so that anyone who is ready, as Dr. Lauren was saying earlier, or seeking to find more in their lives, to not just make their own world better, but to make the world better. Because it's all about, just like you were playing in the clip a minute ago, it really is all of us or none of us. It's we cannot get there unless we all get there. And
That's right.
in the mystery school tradition, we call it Shambhala. But the new age, the new paradigm, the golden yuga, the age of Aquarius, whatever you want to call it, whatever it means to you, but it's the next phase of essentially world peace, of unity consciousness, of remembering that we're all connected and that we're all more than just this little proverbial meat suit that we cart around for hopefully about 100 years or so.
Dude, why did I see Lady Gaga? Remember that?
Right. Hey, maybe she was making a bigger statement than we knew.
Right. I just got to ask you. You said Shambhala. Shambhala Jenkins. She used to do braid hair.
Yeah, no, and she still owes me $20.
Okay, I'll just get. But see what I mean? All these things, and let me say this to you. I know that it's that whole thing about when they say, like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, this, that, and the other. And I know that purpose and everything that is, it works on a need to know basis, which is like a transparency laid on top of a need to grow basis.
Yeah.
And so, because it gives it to me it spoon feeds me. As I seek, if I'm not seeking, I just sit there. You know what I mean? But then I start itching. But if you can either ignore the itch or you can scratch it. And when you scratch it, you're seeking relief. And as long as you're seeking in any form, you will keep going and growing. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, one of my coaching clients suggested I get this book. And of course, I got it on Audible because I don't know why I keep ordering real books because I never get to read them. So anyway, thank you, ADHD gods. 3 Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth. Have you heard of that book?
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. It was because this is an NLP woman and she's taken all this. She's had lots of books. Her name is, what is her name? Wait a minute, because I have it pulled up on my phone right now. Dolores Cannon. Check that out. And in there, I was hearing about when people are under, they talk about where they were before they came here and that there's a council out there and all this stuff and the light beams. And so I was like, and when you hear it, if I wasn't ready 5 years ago, I might have went, Lord have mercy, where are they getting this shit? Right. But now I know better. So let's talk about this piece that you bring. I am so intrigued. We know King Solomon.
Well, a lot of people think they do.
I was going to say, I know. I said, I feel like a setup. Retraction, right? So tell us, take us to where you found it and how was that experience? Because you didn't always know this.
No.
How did it grab you by the collar and pull you in?
I got involved through some interesting jumping through hoops of the universe, as tends to happen. My spiritual path had started, and I was well, essentially that all started because my life was a wreck, and I just needed to pull my act together, and I was not doing well, and it became very clear to me that if I didn't do something to change, to shift, to alter what I was doing and the ways in which I was doing it, like how I was living my life, that I just wasn't going to be around much longer, one way or another.
Yep.
And that started my spiritual path in general. And I started meditating. I started buying every crystal I could find. I got my first 2 Reiki attunements because I'd read online somewhere that helped connect you with your spirit guides, and I was desperate for guidance of any kind. But there were missing pieces. There were things that I just wasn't finding, and so I was searching. I was seeking. I was trying to scratch that itch of knowing that, like, because in the beginning, all it did was make me more itchy. Like once I acknowledged the fact that I had that itch, I was like, well, now I don't want to scratch, but then I wasn't finding the things that would actually scratch it. So I was just getting itchier and itchier. A weird analogy, but I'm going to go with it.
But I get it. I get it, because it's like this. You can go, this is actually a great analogy when you think about it, because the origin of the itch may be different. If you got it from spiritual poison ivy, it's different than if you got bitten by some kind of a spiritual bug. You guys get where we're going here. So you just don't say, oh, well, that didn't work, I'll just let it itch. You got to keep checking out the pharmacies in the universe till you find.
And so, I found, I was searching for all the different creams and ointments and potions and everything that I could find. And some stuff would like last for a minute. Some things seemed good, but then I'd eventually come to some point of it that just didn't resonate, that like this all was all right until I got to this piece, and it just really didn't sit well with me. And so I knew it wasn't the thing I was looking for. And so after a few years of that search and trying to find, like I said, I felt like I was getting to the point where I was ready. And so I was waiting for my teacher to appear, because I felt like I had done as much as I could on my own. And that was where, through some fairly interesting twists of the universe, I ended up working, because my other life is in musical theater, right? So I'm a stage actor and do mostly musical comedy. And
2025 million minutes. That's musical theater, for those of you who aren't aware. Even though I messed up all the lyric. Rent. Check it out. Anyway, go ahead, Charles. Sorry, ADHD is just rampant today.
Hey, it's fine. My ADD is strong on any given day, so it's
okay. Fine. So musical theater, you were all up in it.
Yeah. So there's a theater in Naples, Florida that I ended up working at. And the two people who run the theater are actually initiates in the lineage that I study with now. And at the curtain speech one night, Mark, who runs the theater, he was talking about this woman who was in the audience who had saved the show the season before because the actor playing the lead in the show had lost his voice and had hurt his ankle, and he wasn't able, he was really struggling. And so he was talking about this lady named Barbara that was in the audience who had come in and saved the show by doing a bunch of healing work on him so that he could sing and dance and do what he needed to do. Oh. And so after that show, I went up to Mark and I said, hey, who's this Barbara lady? I didn't know you guys were into that stuff. I'm into that stuff. I feel like I should meet her. And so he made the connection. I eventually went in and met Barbara, who's now my teacher, guide, mentor, and dear friend. And she's the one who introduced me, let me know that the mystery schools are actually still around, because I had, in my research and the things that I was looking for, I had read about the ancient mystery schools in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, these things that existed, but I thought they were gone. I didn't think we had them anymore.
Like lost sea scrolls or something.
Exactly. But it turns out they're not lost. And it's just that they went underground. They went into private. They went into secret for a few thousand years. And now they're starting to, well, at least ours is starting to resurface. Maybe the others will at some point as we move more towards this this time of no more secrets is what it's called. So that everybody can access all of this.
You know what? Can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah.
You say I'm whispering because something just happened. I just had a download. It was a connection because I've been hearing over the last year, I tell all my clients this, as we build out their legacy pieces, I've been hearing it. Don't assume that 100 years from now, your content, your message, your healings will be readily available or accessible to people. Like, don't assume that they'll be allowed to just pick up your book or pull up your video. They could lose their lives for it. And just now, when you were talking about it going under, it was to preserve it, to save it, because that thing was trying to, just like when those stories, that's like those stories in the Bible about Herod. And when they went looking for the babies, Moses, Jesus, to kill them before, like I call it the Sarah Connor effect, how they were going to try to kill John, but they couldn't. So they went back to get her. Right. Because if we get her, he'll never be. That kind of a thing. And so, okay, so keep going. You heard about it. But first of all, did you think, wait a minute, is this some Rosemary's Baby shit? You know what I mean? Like people are going to come out in cloaks and stuff. And it's like, give us some blood first. That kind of thing. Because, I'm just saying that to get that off the table. Because a lot of people, when you say underground, people start thinking cult. They start thinking, not thinking, the whispers of things that don't serve you start telling you that shit to keep
Yeah,
you from it. Talk
of
about
course.
how the acceptance speech came out of your mouth. I want this. I need this. How did you know?
Interesting. It's a good question. So
Thank you.
for me, there was just a really strong sense of knowing. I mean, first of all, I went in and I met her and talked to her, and I forget the exact timing of it, but if I got there at like, noon or 1 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I was looking at my phone and realizing that I had to leave because it was like 6 o'clock and I had a show that night. So we just started
Well,
talking.
time just
And we talked about everything that I was going through, everything that the mystery school is, and just it was just this really beautiful conversation. And anyone who knows, again, my dear friend and guide Barbara knows that she might enjoy talking just a little bit. And I'm a little bit prone to once you get me going to be able to be a little chatty myself. But
hello.
it was like I had been dehydrated and thirsty, and she was just sitting there with the most delicious bucket of cool and refreshing water that I had ever tasted. And we just kept talking, and I kept asking, and I kept learning more, and it just felt so right, and it felt so refreshing to be hearing the things that I knew that I was seeking.
That it
Um,
sounds like you're describing that thirst that our soul comes to this earth to quench.
yes, very
Literally.
much.
Okay.
But it was also, she was wearing I'm sure just a nice, lovely dress, and we were in a nice, brightly lit center it was in a little strip mall that was just a really homey and warm and welcoming environment. None of it was cloak and dagger and secrecy and all of these things. It was just very much, out in the open, in the light, because that's what it is now, right? It had to be secret for a long time to keep it safe, to keep it pure, to keep the practitioners safe, because we've
Yeah.
seen parts of our history where people who were practicing anything that was considered different or unusual would be killed for it and
Exactly.
persecuted in all
It's a
these
real
different ways.
thing.
But that's not what we're doing anymore. We're in we're stepping out into the public. Normally when you're going to see me, I wanted to be in my bathrobe for the
Yeah.
occasion,
Me too.
but normally when you're going to see me teaching and doing my healing work, I'm going to be in a nice shirt and a blazer and some nice slacks. Like I'm bringing the energy of royalty and divinity out into the open. We're not trying to hide it anymore.
I love it. I love it because, see, I'm gonna just tell you, the universe told me, Lauren, just understand this from the gate when I really started waking up. If we have I just said I told you guys this yesterday. They told me that, let's imagine this, Lauren. We have a book behind us, a bookshelf behind our desk, where we have a volume about how we deal with each one of you. Yours, Lauren, would be one of those white, yellow, and black books, whatever for dummies, right? Because we bring it in a way that is so accepting to you. And so here's a really big piece. When you went there that day, did you go prepared? Let's say this experience was a pool, a community pool. Did you go dressed just to roll up your pants and hang your feet over the side? Or did you come with a suit so you could dive completely in and be baptized completely within this experience? How willing do you feel now you were then? Because I think that plays a big part.
So I would say that I came ready to roll up my pants maybe to like the shin level and just dip a foot in and see what this was all about.
Check the temperature.
Because because I had been excited about things before, and I had found things that I had thought were right before, and I had been disappointed. And though I also, secretly had my suit in my backpack, but I didn't want to tell myself or anybody else that I had my suit in the backpack.
Exactly. Just in case.
Just because maybe it is, but it's probably not. But maybe it is. but it's probably not. And
Well,
I
so
often
wait,
joke.
so was it almost like because I think a lot of people suffer from this. Is this too good to be true?
100%.
Syndrome. Okay.
So I often joke about some of the early steps that I took on the path with this lineage. I essentially part of my conscious reasoning behind doing it. Now, that's not to do with maybe what my higher self actually knew what was going on, but what I thought was going on was because I was so excited that this was the thing that I was seeking, that it was what I was actually looking for. But I was so afraid that it was not, and that it was, going to turn out to be something that wasn't what I was looking for, like many other things I had found would be. And so in the beginning, I kind of dove. Once I decided to try it, then I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do it, then I want to dive head first and like really get in as far as I can pretty quickly, because if I find out that it's not actually what I was looking for, which I'm sure that I'm going to, I would like to find that out sooner than later so I can not waste my time and I can move on to keep searching.
Exactly.
And so there were a few steps that I took in the beginning where I was, it's some part of my mind. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do this part, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be the part where I find out that it's nonsense and then I can go on about my way. And then I would do that and it wouldn't be nonsense. And I'd say, all right, well, then I'll take this next step. And this is the one where
I'm sure I'm going to find out it's not true there.
Yes. And so then I would do that and then it would still be good. And I was like, okay, well, this next one, I'm sure,
So you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing like you have this giant key ring, like we all do, with all these different types of keys. But, like there's a modern key, but there's a skeleton key, and then there's this square thing but then we look at the lock in the door in front of us and automatically want to go to the key that's the shape of the lock, but that's not the key. It's one of those others because the test is to see, will you keep checking all the keys on the ring to believe that one of them will unlock the door. So let's go here. You stuck the key in, you heard the click, the door opened, and now what did you see? That was like, oh my God, this is real. What was the litmus test for you? Okay, this worked. When you say this, what was it? You saw the things that did not serve you run out of the room like they were on fire. You felt something pouring over you like warm spiritual syrup. What was it? Or is it even describable?
No, it's an interesting to think about because it all without looking at it, really closely, it just seems like, yeah, it all just felt right. But there were actually some more specific, moments and instances in that for sure. But I will say the first experience I had, because everything that we do on this path starts with a one-on-one healing session called a life activation. That's all about unlocking potential and connecting you with your soul's higher purpose, and essentially, infusing you with light on a genetic level to help you in what King Solomon would have termed reach your Adam Kadmon state, or your ability to be a full divine human. It's a beautiful session. It was really great energy. I remember, afterwards I called a friend and told him all about it. It was really cool. But after that, I just kind of went back to living my life, and I didn't really necessarily think a whole lot more about it. But then a few months later, I found myself calling Barbara to schedule the next classes and the next steps. And that was where I said, all right, well, I'm going to do this introductory class, but if I'm going to do that, then I want to go ahead and dive in and do this other thing. So I need to do the intro class, and I need to do these other 4 classes that are the prerequisites for this next thing I want to do, that was going to Toronto to do a big 5-day program at the headquarters up at the school, so that I could learn how to do the life activation for other people. So even though I received a life activation and went to back to my life and didn't think much about it, all of a sudden I found myself putting in the effort and the steps in order to be able to do it for other people, because that's how much it did for me, even though at the time I wasn't conscious about it.
Yes. So do you feel that that's one of the earmarks of legitimacy during the spiritual seeking process at every level? And I have found that to be true for myself, that's what I go with. The minute it clicks, I immediately start looking for ways to give it away.
Yeah. Because when you really receive something good and true and valuable, our natural instinct as humans is then to share it.
It's just yeah.
It's, you know, how many times do we say like, oh my God, I just had this bite of food and it was amazing. You should try it.
Exactly.
Or like, let me make it for you. Like
Exactly.
That's when we really experience something good. It is our nature to then want to share it. Like, oh my God, this is wonderful. You should do this too.
Okay. Talk to this point. You're ready to start sharing it. So who did you start sharing it with? Strangers or the people in your closest or sacred circle? Because here's the part where a lot of us, it's a dicey. It's like a tightrope, because the people that you think you know go, uh-oh, you know, they're like, did you what's happening with Charles? You know, is he losing his mind? He called me up with this weird woo-woo shit, you know. So where did you go first to give it away?
I started with my family.
Okay.
Thankfully, I'm very close with my brothers and sister and my mom. Like we're very tightly knit, and they've always been very supportive with all of this wacky stuff that I'm doing. Right.
So are they religious?
I'm really grateful for that.
Were they religious or no?
I mean, I grew up Catholic. It's always been a relevant part, but there's also been a lot of acceptance and openness to, and you have to remember also, I was struggling pretty bad, and I think that I thought that I was keeping it a better secret than I was, and so the people who cared about me were able to see that something was different, that something was better. And thankfully, they cared enough about me that I think they didn't really care what was causing the change, as long as it was doing what it was doing.
Was it kind of like when you see a person and you go, did you cut your hair? Or your skin is glowing, something's changed.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, keep doing it, because it's working for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't necessarily understand what I was doing or what was happening, but they knew that I was getting better and that I was doing better. And I was able to be a better brother, son, uncle. Everything that I was doing in my life was improving because of whatever it was that I was doing.
Whatever it was. Now, wait a minute. Did your guide, or were you guided even beyond your physical guide, in how to bring it in? And because sometimes some of us scare people off because we try to here, open your mouth, open. Here comes the airplane.
I've got this thing. It's great. Take it now.
Exactly. So can you just talk a little bit about how was that piece? Because you're anxious. You want the world. Come on.
Yeah.
So
that went, I mean, you might have to ask them.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
But
I don't know. I feel like it came to me at a point in my life where, I was already in my mid to late 30s. There was a certain amount of being able to navigate social situations in that way that I was able to, have in my playbook to be able to apply to it. Okay. Now, mind you, the reason I have those skills so well developed is because I am extremely socially awkward, and I really didn't, as a young person, understand really how any kind of societal constructs or things like that work. So I had to just work really, really hard at developing those skills for myself. So I don't know. Reading people and relating to people is something that I guess kind of forced myself to be really good at, because it was such a foreign skill and concept to me.
I get it.
When I was young.
I get it. Now, earlier in the interview at the top of the hour, when you were talking about how it all began for you, you were like, oh, I didn't know you were into that stuff. I'm into that stuff as well. And I wrote it down because I knew this moment would come. So that was you then. The you now, when people say to you, so Charles, what is this stuff you're in? For instance, let's go into the mysteries, because there's a school. So
Yeah.
can you talk about one of the when you say it, I see a big old book opening up and light coming out of it. That's what I see. And
Mhm.
so what is that light?
Well, it's a fairly accurate visualization, except that the book is you, and that light that you're receiving is the core essence of who you are, your true individuality, your uniqueness that is free from all of the other crap that we sometimes put on and accumulate, and the masks and the coping skills and the fears and the traumas and the anxieties, all those different things that we kind of compile onto ourselves. It makes me think of the movie The Labyrinth.
Yes.
There at one point towards the end, she encounters the lady that has like all of her belongings piled up on her back.
Yes.
There's all of that stuff that she's clearly considering to be part of her, but it's not. It's just stuff that she's accumulated over the years. And there can be things that we accumulate that help us to further express our true individuality and our identity and our actual core essence and self. But a lot of the stuff we pick up and start carrying around doesn't do that. If anything, it starts to hide and inhibit.
You know what I love about mysteries, is because I was into reading them when I was a kid. And why? Because mysteries always lead to something that needs to be solved.
Mhm.
Can we solve the mystery? So you just gave the analogy of the stuff, the reference to the stuff on the woman's back in the labyrinth. What have these mysteries helped you personally solve in your journey?
Well, it's a never-ending journey, right? Because there's always a deeper mystery to uncover. However, some of the biggest keys that have been unlocked, or biggest doors that this work has opened for me, center around joy. First of all, I really was getting to the point where joy was a completely surface level thing, because I was still performing, and when I was dancing and singing, do all the stuff, like there was still this level of joy that I was able to portray, but it was up here. It wasn't actually coming from inside because I didn't actually have any inside to bring out. And so
it was like 0 calorie joy.
Yeah, it was Splenda joy. For sure. Yeah. Like, it's not going to make you fat, but it's killing you nonetheless.
I get it. Right. So, and a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
It's what we lead with, almost like keeping up with the Joneses, or, what goes on in this house stays in this house. So you make it look however you need to make it look.
Mm.
Oh,
yeah. It can be very superficial, very surface, very like a veneer.
Okay.
And, I'm an actor, so I was good at veneers. I was good at surface. I was good at portrayal, but it wasn't reaching the core. It wasn't coming from inside. And it might be able to make other people joyful, but it wasn't giving me the joy that it used to.
I get it.
And one of the other really, there's a lot that I could say, but the biggest piece, just to keep it concise, is so I was a very emotionally sensitive child, very energetically sensitive child. I was always a little bit of an oddball and a little bit of a weirdo. Like I was always wanting to do things that not necessarily everybody else wanted to do. And people didn't always know what to make of that. And so I didn't really relate to people well. I was socially awkward. I struggled with social situations and, having friends, having conversations. These are all things that I did not come naturally to me. And so I very early on learned to start putting on masks and playing characters so that I could function in the world, and so that I could have conversations, so that I could have friends, so that I could be in social situations and not feel like such a freaking weirdo, and I was very skilled at that. And I also spent a life in the theater where I was acting and performing and really mastering the craft of being people other than myself. And so one of the biggest things that has come out of all this for me was the ability to identify the masks and the personas and the other things that I was, putting on to hide behind.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're that good at it, you don't even necessarily realize you're doing it half the time. But it can really start to be a detriment to your sense of self and to be able to know who you are.
They're telling me that, because I just did a reel this morning about sowing the seeds of greatness, and oftentimes the package that those seeds come in is a little package known as trauma.
Oh, sure.
And trauma grows right along with us, but it's oftentimes that door that leads us to our highest self. And
Mhm.
so I just wrote down on the show card, with a question mark, of course. Does this word mean anything to you? Bullied. When you were small, they're telling me you were bullied.
Oh, yeah.
What was
Again,
that? What was that all about? Because it's to help people see how even those things that hurt, that's why they're called growing pains and not
mhm.
growing tickles, because they're meant to lead us to our highest self. And so talk about that connector from then and now. It's like a
Yeah.
bridge.
It is. Now, Grant, I wasn't physically bullied at
Abused.
school or anything like
Right,
that.
right.
And honestly, as far as
Because wait a minute,
things go,
because here's another piece to it. Because people are looking at you and they're thinking, this guy's never had a care in the world. That's what they're thinking. He got, had all the friends. He looks like a star. He's talented. He said he sings and dances and acts. But there's always that piece that people don't see.
yeah.
So yeah, so go with that. Yeah, yeah.
It is. Now, what I actually was, I don't know, you'd have to ask somebody else, but what it felt like to me
There it
was
is.
that I was just awkward and weird and different. Um,
All good things
as
today.
far as I was ever concerned, I was unattractive and physically not in great shape, and all these different things. So, but I was not, beaten up after school, and
Right.
really, looking back on it, people weren't particularly awful. There were a couple instances later on, like high school years, where people said some
Well, we can
things.
bully ourselves
Well, it was a lot of
from perspective,
self-bullying,
through perspective.
and a lot of it was just people just not being very nice. But I was so sensitive, and I was so emotionally in tune, and I was so energetically empathic that
That's what I was going to say.
there was a fellow third grader being just flippantly mean to me would not just be brush it off, a duck on what is it, water on a duck's back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because not only would I feel the pain of whatever was said, but if they're saying that, they're also coming from a place of pain and hurt. So I was feeling what was hurting me, and I was also feeling what was hurting them that caused them to say it in the first place. And this, really, so a kind of a small thing on the surface could feel like a much more intense and awful thing. And embarrassment was one of the most painful things that I ever remember feeling, which is a fascinating thing. We also, our home life was challenging. There were some, there was definitely opportunities for a lot of trauma there, but also just there was a tone and a focus on the material and the physical. And so everything was super judgmental. Even if it wasn't outright cruel, it was super judgmental. And so there were, trying not to, air too much dirty laundry in such a public forum,
No worries.
because they're my family and I love them.
Sure,
we have
sure,
good
I get it.
relationships now. But there were challenges, and there was definitely a tone that was set, mostly prominently from my father, but it was also it was the 80s, right? It was a very materialistic time. that the physical and the material was a really big focus in that era.
Yeah.
And so having good skin or being in the right shape or looking a certain way, behaving a certain way, all of these surface level material things were highly important, and those were all the things that I was really bad at.
So let's pivot here because I want to make sure we've got about 6-7 minutes left. Let's talk about this, the Logan Light Center, because to be able to find your way to this place now, where you are gifting people through your divine gifts, and then they're able to do the same thing. I love it because it means that the healing never ends. Which is a kind of a dicey concept for a lot of people because they just think we heal and it's done. But that's why we have scars, to remind us of that there is immediate healing, and also that there's always a story riding sidecar with those wounds, those scars, and we must honor them, the ones we can see. That's why when you have a scar on your body, somebody asks you how you got that, you can tell them everything about that day, everything about it. And same thing with the scars that people cannot see. So let's talk about, because that's what they showed me. When people come to you, a lot of them come because of wounds, scars, like we go anywhere to ease it. So talk about what kind of people find their way to you why should someone click on this link, which I'm going to drop in your comment section? And what would you say to them about just take a chance? Just give us one chance. Why would you say that to somebody? What would be the most important benefit that would stand right behind you saying that?
Joy, purpose, and fulfillment, I think.
3 rings.
Because those are the things that most people tend to be lacking at least one of those, if not all 3. There are people that are really successful potentially, and maybe they're living in full, abundance, but they don't have that sense of purpose, or maybe they have a sense of purpose, but they don't have the alignment with all of it to have it lead to the joy and the abundance. So it's these different keys, and we should all be addicted to joy, really.
Right. I'd
It
love
should be
that.
something
Thank
that
you,
we're
Robert.
constantly striving for.
Yes.
It's by all means, because we're kind of conditioned in our world today to accept joy as like this kind of luxury commodity that, like, maybe once I get everything else squared away, I can put some effort into the luxury of joy. But joy is our most powerful tool of light. And so if we ever feel like we're in the dark, if there's darkness around us, if we're really struggling, or if there's anything that we're coming up against that we're having trouble shifting or moving, it's hokey and cliche, but joy and gratitude are just the tickets to fixing just about any of it.
Absolutely right. I'm gonna tell you what a lot of people may be envious about with you and don't understand why they feel that. But I'm seeing it right now. I'm going to tell you why. You're living within that final verdict that the jury has handed you. You now are no longer, your purpose in this world is not on a thumb drive. It is on your spiritual hard drive. And what I mean by those things, you have found that thing that you wouldn't change or give up for anything in the world. And so, having found that, Charles, how do you look at those things that you were talking about early in the interview about my life wasn't all that great? It was, the light come. I was with Sanjay Chopra all last week, and I'm talking with him again tonight. And I'll never. He was telling me how the pain and the cracks, the wounds, is how the light gets in. It's how the light gets in, and I want to know more about these mysteries. I want, and so here's what I'm hearing right now. Does this piece fit in with all the other pieces? Because all of us have a different road to enlightenment as we seek our highest selves. So do you feel that these mysteries and the things that you offer at the Logan Light Center could be just another collectible that we can put in our spiritual apothecary uh, cabinet to just put up there to fit in with all the others. Some people think it needs to look one way. So I just feel that that's something we need to discuss before we get out of here.
Yeah, so it's essentially tools, and they're tools that you put in your toolbox. For me, they have ended up being the best tools that I found that worked. And so I have other tools in my toolbox that aren't the lineage and the mystery school, but they tend to be kind of like lower on, and they don't get pulled out very much because the other tools that I have that are from the lineage tend to be the most functional ones. But there's still many tools in my toolbox, and those other tools are in there. I just don't tend to use them a whole lot because I've found that these ones are going to be the most helpful for me, and for when I'm helping other people. But there are those of us that have become guides in this lineage and really kind of devoted ourselves to this path because it's the one that worked for us the best. But there are also many people who study with the school that this is just one thing that they do, and there's many other tools in their toolbox, and they use a lot of them. It's very
Depending on
unique.
what
It's
you're
very
building at the
individual.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no, because we're not a cult, right? So it's not like,
Exactly.
you have to do this and this is the only thing you're allowed to do. This is available, and we're going to teach you how to use the tools. And then what you do with them is up to you, because you are a sovereign being.
Last question.
Yes.
It just came flying in. How different is your outlook as far as the previous you before the mysteries began to be unlocked for you? How different is your mindset now as far as it pertains to what you believe to come after this life? Tell me. That's a great question to end on.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest. Outlook and mindset are some of the biggest things that have shifted. One of the things I was struggling with pre-mystery school was a feeling of hopelessness and powerlessness, because I was looking around at the world around me and seeing the challenges and the problems and everything that was broken and needs repairing, because there's a lot where we're on the verge of some great things. The Shambhala energy is coming in, but that means that it's also now shining the light on all the stuff we still have to fix. And there's a lot that's still left to go.
Sure.
Before doing Empower Thyself, before getting initiated into this lineage, I was being crushed by the weight of all of the stuff that needed to change, and my powerlessness, perceived powerlessness to do anything about it. And that first class was where that shifted. And I said, all right, yes, I still see everything that's going on, but now I feel like I can actually do something about it. And part of that outlook change and that perspective was in that first weekend, in that introductory class. That's when there's also a lot of teaching around who we are as a collective, why we're here, and where we're going after this, and the purpose behind all of it and why it exists. And so having that deeper level of understanding and knowing that we are eternal beings, that we've never been born, we can never die, we have existed forever, and we will continue to exist, that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and that this physical experience that we're in, while it is an extremely important part of our path and our process, it is one part of that path and process. And there have been many legs of the journey before this, and there will be many legs of the journey after this. This is just one aspect of it. And so we want to make the most of it, and I want to do as much as we can while I'm here, because there are certain things that it's easier to learn here in the physical.
Yeah.
The way I describe it is, I can read books and books and books and books about the effects of high temperature superheated metal on organic material, and there's some level of understanding that I will get after hours and years of research in reading all of these things, or I can touch a hot stove for a millisecond.
Got it. I'm gonna tell you something.
Understanding is right there,
Charles. When I look at you, and I look past the physical being that is here, I see you cupping peace It's a big P-E-A-C-E, but it is a big P-I-E-C-E. Y'all didn't think I could spell. See there? But I just wanted to share that with you. I hang out for a second backstage if you have a minute, because I want to find out how to get some of this. I'm serious. I really want to know more. And if you are feeling that same pull, that beckoning from someplace beyond your own human reasoning, check it out. Don't be afraid. Be willing.
And we do, just to finish, I'm happy to help at Logan Light Center, but we are an international school. And
I was
so
gonna
wherever
ask.
you are in the world,
Thank you.
if it's not with me, I can connect you to somebody probably not too far away that can help you.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. So it's open and available.
absolutely.
Everything is a choice. Everything is a decision. And just remember, when you make these, don't take them lightly. Just remember that at the end of every decision, when you get down there where it lives, you're either going to look to the left and see regret, or you're going to look to the right and embrace rejoicing. What do you choose today? Choose whatever it is that takes you closer to your highest self. Keep doing that, and you'll find exactly what you're seeking. I want to thank you and thank all of your team. You're welcome back anytime. I really want to talk to you guys about a 90-minute special, a television special, so we can go deeper and you can show us some things and talk about some things. I think it's very intriguing and very interesting, and I think it's something whose time has come yet again. So let's bring it out of the darkness and closer to the light which is within all of us. How's that sound?
So let's say, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm all
there
for
you
it.
go. Got to ring the bell. Charles Logan, it has been a true honor. I just love what you guys are doing. Please, please, please keep doing it. And I want to say, as I'm looking for because I'm like, okay, you guys, listen, we're a little bit over time, but it was worth it. It's divine timing, and that's all that matters. Listen, get out of here. Go out and find your highest self today. And I'll meet you, God willing, out on the front porch come Monday morning for our next chance to have an illuminated conversation together. Be your best and give the world your best. I love you. And as always, I tell you, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you guys soon. God bless you. I'll see you. Charles, thank you so much. Great job. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye, everybody. See you. See you Monday.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul.